Hey everyone, it's your girl Sheenapreneur, and I am here to talk to you today about veteran stuff. Veteran government contracting. So I don't know why it took me so long to do this video, Lord have mercy. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. Don't forget to check out the GovCon for Winners course that teaches 3-tier contracting: federal, local, and corporate contracting. Now let's get to it. For those of you who don't know, I am a retired Army veteran. I was a signal warrant officer. Did my signal warrant officer thing. I was a 255 Alpha, so I really kind of knew my job a little bit, sort of, kind of. But yeah, so contrary to probably believe, like, I was really in the Army for real. Like, I really did this thing for 20 years. And I was active duty, then I was reserve, then I was active reserve, and then I was back regular reserve, and then it was time to go. COVID hit, and it was a wrap. So I did 20 years. 2002 to 2022, so I just retired. But before that, I was still a business owner. I was a business owner for like multiple times throughout my military journey. So for me, some people talk about transition. For me, it wasn't like a huge transition because I had done business before, and then I was a DOD civilian twice, actually. Dang, it's kind of crazy. I was a DOD civilian way back doing something different than what I did the second time. And so I actually resigned from my DOD civilian job because my business was just popping, and I just had to move on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, talk about like transitioning service members who are going into government contracting, those who are still in, whether active duty or reserve, and want to do government contracting, and those who are DOD civilians who want to do government contracting. So when I was a reservist, but I was full-time, it's not AGR, but I was mobilized on order. So I was pretty much like an active duty status, a Title 10 status, where I was getting paid active duty pay as a warrant officer. So that money was sweet. But but with that, I was starting my business. I started my business in 2017. So I was like literally working full-time in my business and working full-time as a DOD civilian. You know, a lot of people were asking, I would ask everybody, and a lot of people were asking me, like, isn't that a conflict of interest for you to be like working in the military or working as a DOD civilian and doing government contracts? And I was like, no, but it was kind of like yes and no. So when I registered for my SDVOSB, which is a service disabled veteran owned small business set aside, I was not a DOD civilian at that time. This was in 2017. So I was a reservist on active duty, and nowhere in the FAR does it state that you cannot be an active duty or an active reserve service member and not get awarded contracts. It does not say that.
Somebody fight me if I'm wrong.
Just kidding. But yeah, so basically I was like, okay, I got the certification. Now, the certification lasts for 3 years. I had no contracts. No federal contracts for that whole 3 years, actually. So it really didn't matter. But when it was time for me to renew, now I was a reservist who was a DOD civilian. So what had happened was when you go for your SDVOSB certification, whether you're renewing or going for it the first time, you're going to have like a counselor who's going to help you through. They don't really help you through the paperwork, but basically if there's something that needs to be clarified or there's something that's wrong, they're going to ask questions or they're going to tell you, hey, you can't do X, Y, Z. And so when I was recertifying and I had my counselor, they asked me, are you a DOD civilian? I was like, how can I get out of telling the truth? But no, we do the right thing. We have integrity over here. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, yes, I am a DOD civilian. And so in the FAR, it states something like, and I'll put it up in the description, put it up here somewhere where it shows exactly what you cannot do. And so in short, it states that you cannot be awarded SDVOSB contracts as a DOD civilian. Something like that. So you can still do contracts. You can do a regular contract. It could be a small business set aside. It could be, for me, a woman owned. It could be an 8A, but I just could not get an SDVOSB as a DOD civilian. So it had nothing to do with me being a military service member. So there were so many people that I was asking. I mean, I even asked FEMA. I was like, yo, I was at a conference. FEMA was there, and I'm like, yo, FEMA, like, can a girl get a contract and be a soldier? And they're like, we don't know. And I'm like, well, who the heck knows this? But, you know, at the time I wasn't really reading the FAR. And the FAR is just so cumbersome and so stressful. But really, it wouldn't have mattered, because if I had have looked up service member and SDVOSB, it wouldn't have come up, because that's what I was at the time. But as a DoD civilian, that's where the issues came in. So within this process, of course, I had just learned so much as an SDVOSB certified government contractor. There's not only SDVOSB, those who are service disabled, and the service disabled can be anything from 0% to 100%. But then they also have the VOSB, which is not a set aside certification, so to speak, a veteran-owned small business. They do have contracts for that as well, but it's not an application. From what I understand, a VOSB is not an application that you have to put in. It's more like a designation. So those of you who are transitioning and you're trying to start your business, or those of you who are still in and they just want to stay in as a reservist, you are able to get your certifications, whether it's veteran or any other certification, and perform contracts. Now, the caveat to that is that you cannot give a contract to yourself.
I mean, I just thought that was like common knowledge.
But for real, I get this question pretty often. Like, hey, I work at the Army Corps of Engineers facilities office, and they have flooring contracts all the time, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I get a contract there. No, you don't want those problems. And I mean, orange is not my color, and neither are stripes. Do not join this government contracting journey with the intent to award yourself a contract. Like, really, if you are a service member or you work for DoD, I would say to just stay away from any DoD contracts, because I mean, just stay away, because what the agencies are looking at, or what the government is looking at, is, hey, they had an inside way to get contracts. That's pretty much what they're looking at. And it's just not a good look. It's just not a good thing. You just don't want to get involved in anything that's going to give you problems, or you have to prove that you're not in cahoots with some sort of corrupt type of process. But the thing is that there's so many other agencies that are federal that most people don't even know about, like the USDA, the Department of Interior, or Department of Commerce, where you wouldn't even know anything about them unless you're doing government contracting. So you don't need to always do a DoD contract. Some of them just have the same budget or a very similar budget, where you can look at USA spending and see who's really buying what you have. And I go over that in my course. I'll leave the link in the description about that. But anyway, when it comes to veteran stuff, another less known fact is that some agencies that are local, like if it's the state level, county level, city level, school system, they also have their own internal certifications for veterans, where you could just, hey, I'm a veteran, and you usually don't have to provide any documentation stating that you're a veteran. You just say that you are. Now, maybe if you're awarded, they may ask to see something. I haven't seen it yet, and I've always marked, boop, I marked that I'm a minority, a veteran, woman-owned, boop, 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 small business, and local business. Those are all the things that I'm able to check. So with that, it's like you can go ahead and look at stuff that's local. If you don't feel comfortable with bidding on something on the federal side, you can always go local. Of course, for those of you who don't know my story, I started off on the local side. Because of my veteran status, it really didn't have anything to do with me being awarded that contract. But of course, when a conversation comes up and I say I'm a veteran, it changes the whole conversation anytime I go to site visits and things like that, because people just respect veterans so much. So some of you who have seen my little quick short video on YouTube or on Instagram, I talk about the veteran certification now moving to the SBA website. Okay, so we have breaking news for all of my veterans who are looking to get their SDVOSB certification or their VOSB designation. Those who are certified already, just know that your recertification will no longer be going through VetBiz. You will be rerouted to the SBA website, and all those who are looking to get certified after the 24th of October, you will be going to the SBA website. So all those who are looking to get their certification ASAP, please make sure that you go over to VetBiz and get your certification before October 24th. It's not too late. You can get all your documents in and all your information in before that time and still be approved. Once it gets over to the SBA, we don't know what their kinks are. We don't know how challenging it's going to be to get certified. So just try to get that stuff done ASAP. If you don't know how to do any certifications, go over to GovCon for Winners on Shunapreneur.com. See you on the other side. Before, it was on a site called VetBiz, and I'm sure there's going to be some overlap there, where if you go today, it still might be on VetBiz, but then you can also do the certification on the SBA website. I would recommend anyone to just get the process started. It's free. Like, it's a free certification along with the Woman Owned, along with the 8A, HubZone, and all that. But especially for the veterans, go ahead and get that certification, because even if you don't do federal contracts, or even if you want to have it, it's great to have. I mean, anything that's free to me and it can get a conversation going is great to have. And how you actually utilize your SDVOSB, for those who don't know, you do partnerships. There are a lot of companies who would want to partner with you just because you're SDVOSB, and you can do contracting together. You can do a lot of JVs. You can go into the mentor protege program that the SBA offers, where a large company will be the backing for you, and you'll be the prime and they'll be the sub, but they're funding the whole contract and they're helping to build you up so you could become a larger company, and you don't have to suffer with the blunt of the responsibility and the financial aspect. Now, you'll have the responsibility, but as far as like being by yourself, trying to execute a contract and you're not really familiar with the process. So Mentor Protege program, it's good to have the SDVOSB certification so you can be marketable. Because if you're someone who is just certification less, what is the benefit that you're bringing to a large company for them to work with you besides location? That's one of the only other things that that's really marketable to larger companies, is that, hey, I'm in Alaska, the company's in Alaska, you're in Florida, and the contract is, in Florida, and they're like, hey, we want to do business with you because you're closer to the actual location if you don't have any certifications. When you've got the certification, they can't get it without you. They cannot get this set aside contract without you. So at least have it, so if that opportunity comes up, you'll have it already, and you can't scramble to get, there's no scrambling to get the SDVOSB. Those who like to do stuff last minute, this is not for you, because it can take anywhere from 15 days to 2 months to get it done. I had a friend who went after his SDVOSB certification, and he read the entire site. He read the frequently asked questions. He read everything line by line by line, had all the letters of rebuttal ready to go, and he still had to write some more letters. So those who just like to do stuff last minute, this is not for you. You have to ensure that you have the certification before you need it, because if someone comes to you, they're going to say, hey, are you SDVOSB? I heard you're a veteran. And you're like, oh, no, let me try to get it today. It's going to take you a while to get it, anywhere, like I said, from 2 weeks to 2 months or longer. Just depends on how fast your turnaround time is. And then there's a limit on how long they'll leave the application open for you. So if you wait too long, sometimes they'll close it out and you have to start that process all over again, and you don't want that. So for my veterans, I have my 3-tier contracting course. For those who don't know, I will leave the link in the description. It's sheenapreneur.com, where I teach you how to be a 3-tier contractor. That's bidding on federal, local, corporate contracting, and stuff for my veterans, of course, because your girl's a program queen. So everything that's veteran related and is free or near free, I'm a part of it. And also when it comes to corporate contracting, something that I almost forgot. So you do have the same opportunities as a veteran-owned business. There are agencies who will certify you as a veteran-owned business. Now, corporate certifications you have to pay for, but they're still worth it, because you can get contracts with like AT&T, with Boeing, with Coca-Cola, with all these other corporate agencies who have the goal to give their work and allow products to come in from small businesses who are veterans. So make sure that you get the certifications before you need it, whether it's federal side, corporate side, and then some local side, and you're ready to go. So until next time, from your favorite veteran who's out here in the field doing these contracts,